Today we'll discuss about the ecology and environment module. I talked about the coral reefs, and we know the largest coral reef is present in western coast of Australia. Largest reef, but we have also witnessed, because of the anthropogenic activity, global warming and other regions, our coral reefs day by day decreases. So you can see here tropical zone, and we have seen also tropical zone is the most favorable area for the growth of coral reefs, first one. And coral reefs are the tropical grassland of marine system, of ocean system, and it actually supports more than what Brazilian tropical grassland supports. And that's why in 2017 or 18 one question was asked related to coral reef. Okay, and you can see the coral reefs also, distribution of coral reefs. You see distribution only about the reef. It is an extension of the previous model figure. Now we will see the next topic, that is the water quality parameters, because we are concerned about the water pollution. You see the whole module we are dealing about the water pollution modules, and in this module we are about to read about the parameters which are very essential to talk about the water quality. So in this you have first parameter, that is a dissolved oxygen. Because if you have a more amount of dissolved oxygen in water, that means it supports lot of marine organisms. Yes, you see. Definition: the amount of oxygen present dissolved in water, it is a measure in terms of milligram per liter. So simple, because the dissolved oxygen means whatever oxygen present in the water body. So simple to understand. And you know there are lot of inorganic and organic waste present in the water. So micro bacteria, microorganisms needs oxygen, because we know lot of combustion takes place during the with the presence of oxygen. Aerobic decomposition. I told you there can be two decomposition, aerobic and anaerobic. Anaerobic is absence of oxygen, and aerobic is in the presence of oxygen. Yes. Microorganism requires lot of oxygen. Yes, lot of oxygen during aerobic decomposition. If there are lot of organic matters present in the marine system, it requires lot of oxygen. It will derive from the water body. So how other organism can survive? That is the biggest reason why the marine organisms are getting destroyed every day, every because of the climatic change, and because of the lot of deposition of the organic and inorganic substances inside your water bodies. Presence of organic and inorganic waste in the water decreases the dissolved oxygen. I hope you can understand this point. Content in the water. Right. That's why I have to explain. It is a very straightforward sentence. You have to have such logic. Why it happened? Water having dissolved oxygen content less than 8 milligram per liter may be considered as a contaminated. If you have a dissolved oxygen less than 8 milligram per liter, it is a contaminated water. But if you have having below 4 gram, is a highly polluted. That means now organism cannot survive in this water. It is a highly polluted, because microorganism used all oxygen, okay, to decompose organic matters present inside the water bodies. The higher amount of organic waste, yes, you can see from here, the higher amount of organic waste present in the water increases the rate of decomposition. Yes, you need lot of oxygen to decompose by bacteria, and dissolved oxygen consumption, thereby decreasing the oxygen content of the water. Simple, because whatever bacteria, whatever microorganisms are present there, they extract oxygen from the water and they use to decompose the organic matters. So in this way the system have very less amount of less amount of oxygen. How other organisms can survive with such less amount of oxygen present in water bodies? You can see from the parts per billion dissolved oxygen, you can see. Okay, now we'll move towards the second parameter, that's your biochemical or biological oxygen demand. Very important, because UPSC prelims lot of times BOD, COD, yes Ramanji, have been asked in UPSC prelims. You cannot ignore this topic. Very important topic. Water pollution by organic waste is measured in terms of biological. Whatever pollution you have because of the decomposition of organic matters can be measured in terms of your BOD, biological oxygen demand. Because in order to decompose organic substances, you require oxygen. That's why biochemical oxygen demand. How much oxygen is required by your microorganism in order to decompose organic matter. Same thing. Definition: biochemical oxygen demand is the amount of dissolved oxygen needed by the bacteria or a microorganism to decompose the organic matter present in water. So simple to understand. Higher value of BOD means less dissolved oxygen content of water, because it consumed by the microorganism, that's why BOD is high. If you consume BOD, automatically presence of oxygen in water body decreases. So less BOD, more BOD means less oxygen content in water. Less BOD means high content. Simple. Asked in UPSC question, very simple. You do not have such logic, you do not have mathematical calculation. Very simple to understand. Biochemical oxygen demand can only be used for measuring the organic waste in water. Only organic. What about the inorganic waste? It does not come under the purview of or under the control of your BOD. It only concerns with your organic matter present inside the water bodies. It can be measured in terms of milligram per liter. Now we will see the most important parameter of water bodies, that is your COD, because COD can give you the best result as compared to BOD and other also. Yes, like I told you DO, then I talked about the BOD. Chemical oxygen demand, COD is the most superior parameter. How is it superior? You can see. Chemical oxygen demand is the parts of oxygen in parts per million. You see the parts per ppm required to oxidize the organic and oxidizable inorganic compounds present in the water body. What does it mean? It requires oxidize the organic. How much oxygen is required to oxidize the organic and oxidizable inorganic compounds present in the water body? How much oxygen is required? Same thing. COD shows the even more best accurate picture of water quality compared to BOD. So that's why scientists or researcher or other concerned persons, or you can say intelligentsia, they are preferred COD rather than BOD or DO. It gives you the vivid picture, detailed picture about the quality of water bodies. Okay, fine. Now we'll see the various sources of water pollution. It's very simple. Domestic sewage, industrial discharge. Domestic sewage, it contains harmful microorganisms and nutrient-rich content also nitrous and phosphate, which causes eutrophication. Eutrophication. I told you number of times. From surface runoff also, agriculture activities, nitrogen, yes, nitrates. Yes, nitrification happens. Nitrogen can be dissolved in water bodies, can be go to the atmosphere also. Yes, we are very concerned with the using of fertilizer also, pesticide also. Only below the 20 or 30% agriculture soil can consume nitrogen, but other remaining parts either goes down to your sea bodies, and half of them can go to the atmosphere. It becomes the problem.
Yes.
So you see, domestic sewage. Industrial discharge, you are aware of the industrial discharge. Discharge several inorganic and organic pollutants and very highly toxic to the living beings. If you are discharging hot water, that are the byproducts, or you can say the last product of industry. If you are discharging hot water into the main sea body, marine organism will automatically die. Because if there is any rise in temperature, marine organism will get affected. Discharge of wastewater from industry like petroleum, paper manufacturing, metal extraction, processing, chemical and so on often contain toxic substances like heavy metals such as mercury, cadmium and variety of organic compounds, and it creates a lot of disastrous impact on marine ecosystem. Now we see pharmaceutical industries also, organic solvents, you have other harmful chemicals, pharmaceuticals, because for that you need to process before discharging. That's why many industries have protocols, follow some protocol standard that you have to first process the fluid, process the pollutant, and then you can discharge it to the Ganga or Ganga river or other. You see the Barauni also, same thing. Agriculture sources also, yes, I told you. Agriculture runoff, phosphate, eutrophication, same thing. Nitrates, ammonia, pesticide, herbicide, and so on. Endosulfan. Endosulfan is one of very important of UPSC topic, environment. Endosulfan is insecticide. It is used as to kill insect, not pest, insect. In addition to the application of food crops, endosulfan can be used as a wood preservative also. It can be used as a preservative as well. Endosulfan is gradually phased out because it is a very disastrous. It has got very disastrous impact on the health. That's why there is some agreement at global level. Endosulfan must be phased out, maybe first phased out with subsequent periods. Endosulfan is gradually being phased out on a global scale due to the wider range of adverse impact on health. It is a highly potent neurotoxin. Neuro means brain. Yes, it can produce some poisonous impact to your brain also. The health effects include the children being born with a disability. If you have a more exposure to the endosulfan, children can born with many disabilities. Affecting endocrine glands also, toxicity and potential to bioaccumulate. Yes, I told you bioaccumulation and biomagnification in my earlier class. But don't worry, I will come with the new fresh topic, bioaccumulation and biomagnification, because both terms are very important in UPSC prelims. Okay. All these factors have led to the more than 50 countries banning endosulfan. You see, Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants. Yes, Ramananji, I told you number of times. POP, persistent organic compounds. Stockholm Convention we have many conventions. Like yes, Ramsar Convention. We have Bonn Convention, many sites convention. In India, despite law banning, it is still used in some places, you know. Now, thermal and radiation pollution. Thermal and nuclear power plant use a lot of water. Yes, use a lot of water for cooling purposes, you know, because whatever products you have, they are very hot. So, in order to cool down, you need water, and even after using water, whatever products you have, they are also hot. And if you discharge hot water into the sewage, into your river system, marine system will be affected. So then discharge the hot water into a nearby water body, very unethical thing. Discharge of such extremely hot water increases the temperature of water body to 10 to 15 degrees Celsius above the ambient, above the normal water temperature. That is called your thermal pollution, because this pollution is being promoted by the temperature. How temperature? Because whatever water we used in the thermal power plant or other plants, before cooling down, we actually discharging directly into the water bodies. Hot water discharging into the water bodies. That's why it is called thermal pollution. Increases in water temperature decreases the DO level. Obviously, you know, warm water consists of less oxygen, and cold water consists of more oxygen. You know this thing. So if you have a high temperature, DO is less, diesel oxygen is very less, and it will impact on the marine ecosystem. It also affects the metabolism and growth and swimming of the aquatic organism. Very simple to understand. Nuclear accident near water bodies pose major risk of radiation leakage into the water bodies. Yes, if you have a nuclear reactor near your coastal areas, if any byproducts discharge into water bodies, it will create a disastrous impact on the marine organism or the peoples living around your coastal areas. Yes, the nuclear accidents near water bodies pose a major risk of radiation leakage into the water. Radioactive ion absorbed by the thyroid gland. If you consume radioactive iodine, your thyroid glands will be destroyed, and it may cause cancer also, thyroid cancer. Now we see the oil spills. Yes, oil spill is a burning issue. It's a burning issue. We have witnessed lot of oil spills around Indian Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, everywhere we have seen. Oil spill is the release of liquid crude oil or petroleum into the environment, especially the marine ecosystem due to the human activity, and they are very disastrous. They will produce a very disastrous impact because they consist of a lot of hydrocarbons, and if you combine a lot of hydrocarbons into the water bodies, and also oil spill covers lot of areas. It will affect on the huge system. You see, the terms is generally used for the marine oil spills. Whatever we have oil spills, that is not your coastal region, it is not your inland areas. It is all about the coastal area, it is all about your marine system. So usually used for marine oil spill, where oil is released into the ocean or coastal waters, but spills may also occur on land area also. But we are only concentrating on the marine spills, and oil spill is actually word used for marine spills only. Yes, oil spill at seas are generally much more damaging than your land, since they can spread very fast for 100 kilometers, 100 nautical miles with a thin oil sea. And if you have such a barrier at the top of the surface of the water, how sunlight will penetrate inside the system? Now automatically many living organisms that are present at the upper side of the water body can die immediately. So simple to understand. So oil being lighter than water, yes, so that's why it floats over the water, covers the water surface as a thin film cutting of oxygen to phytoplankton and other aquatic plants and animals also. Within a few hours of oil spill, the aquatic organisms die due to suffocation and metabolic disorder. Cannot perform metabolism. Birds and animals that consume dead plants also get affected, and they also being destroyed, by also being killed. Birds and animals that consume dead fishes and plankton also die due to poisoning. Oil spills impacts beach tourism also, fishing also along the coast. So simple to understand oil spilling. So it is a major concern. That's why we have Indian Coastal Guard. Yes, Ramananji, Indian Coastal Guard being used to prevent such kind of oil spill around our coastal areas, around our 200 nautical miles. Invasive species, aquatic plants like water hyacinth. Yes, very, very important. It is a part of your current affairs also. Water hyacinth is your aquatic plants that are invasive species introduced by the British in Bengal region. But you see, after introducing this invasive species, no, they invade all the living organisms, all other vegetation, but they are very alien to that land. They are introducing from the other land, and British introduced this water hyacinth in Bengal region, and that's why it became the terror of Bengal. That's why it covered a lot of times in current affairs. Yet it has been asked, and it could be asked. Aquatic plants like water hyacinth, also called the terror of Bengal, are one of the most problematic invasive aquatic weeds species. They grow abundantly. They can grow in abundant manner. Random also, abundant. Abundant is more, much more amount. Water bodies, especially in those water bodies which are nutrient rich, you see, kill the water bodies also. They causes havoc by their excessive growth, which causes imbalance in the ecosystem. You see, it provides a dangerous effect. They also lead to the stagnation of water in rivers. Now water becomes stagnant in the river. If water becomes stagnant in the river, what does it mean? River collapsed, river die because of the water hacking. That's why it is called a terror of Bengal. And they destroy the ecosystem also by causing imbalance and killing of other organisms, by depleting the resources for the ecosystem. And Bengal is known for the fish culture. In Bengali you have a fish culture. So it also destroys the fish. That's why water hyacinth is termed as your terror of Bengal, and it was being introduced by the British there. But at that time British was unaware of its invasive character. That's it for today's class.